A BetterHelp ad. Therapy isn't just for times of major challenge, it's a valuable tool for anyone wanting to improve their well being. It can help you develop healthy coping skills, set boundaries, and support personal growth. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a fully licensed therapist right from your phone. No commuting, no waiting rooms. And you can switch therapists at any time. Sign up at betterhelp.com and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com.
When it comes to weight loss, you don't need more advice. You need more of what works. That's Weight Watchers, designed for one thing: better weight loss results. With real coaches who show up week after week and host workshops and Q&As on a schedule that works for you. And real tools designed to take the guesswork out of what to eat, how to move, and how to build habits that actually last. Because real results don't just come from more advice. They come from the support to follow through. That's why Weight Watchers Core Plus members lose 3.5 times more weight than people who do it on their own. Get more of what works with Weight Watchers Core Plus. More tools, more support, more personalization, more of what actually works. Get started today at WeightWatchers.com. In a 6-month clinical trial of over 370 people, those using Weight Watchers saw significantly better results than those following standard nutritional advice alone. See the 2025 study published in the AJCN.
The process of change involves changing our deepest, most basic attitudes towards life. Welcome to Sobriety Snippets for Women Over 40, where we change our attitudes towards life to elevate our mindset and trade hangovers for higher consciousness, one powerful snippet at a time. I'm Becca Jacobson, and welcome back to the Snippets. I'm giggling, gals. I just had to try and say that intro 3 times. I just kept blowing it. It's funny how you change a few words and your mind goes on autopilot. But we got through it. Here we are. I said what I wanted to say to get us here. Gals, it's midweek in mid-May, and we are looking at a book called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. Now, this book is really interesting. It is 95% practice. It's techniques, it's strategy, it's ways to change your attitude towards life. And I mean like 95, maybe 98%. There's very little theory in this book. This book is about trying stuff out, practicing, seeing what it's like, going back, trying something different. And we're going to go through today and Friday some of the techniques that Shakti Gawain gives to us in order to help us change our attitude towards life. But before we begin, I just want to welcome you. If you're new here in Snippet Land, welcome aboard. This is where we keep the home fires burning for women over 40 who are struggling with alcohol. Pretty much got the rest of life happening, but then there's alcohol, which really means we're struggling with facing emotions, looking at the past, learning how to relax. This is all about emotions and attitudes and consciousness. It is not about alcohol. I'm Becca Jacobson, and as a former English professor, periodically we do what we're calling here in Snippet Land from Becca's bookshelf, from pages to practice. And this book that we're doing this week is a perfect example of going from page to practice. We take it off the page, we put it into practice, we decide if it's working for us. That is what I call not surface dwelling. So there's always a lot going on here, a lot to learn, a lot to try, and I'm really glad you made it here. And welcome back to all my beautiful snippet lovers. On Monday, we looked at the first 2 chapters in this book where Shakti Gawain tells us what creative visualization is, why it's important, and why it works. And in short, she explained that everything is energy, including us and our emotions. Energy is magnetic, and whatever we put out there will come back to us. And that we can therefore decide what kind of energy we're putting out and create a different life. Now, what does that have to do with alcohol-free living for 40 plus women? Well, as we mentioned on Monday, if you approach your alcohol free life or your journey to get that bottle out of the way once and for all, if you approach it from a negative attitude, an attitude of, oh my God, this is going to suck so bad. How do you live without alcohol? What do I do on my birthday? I don't know how to relax at the end of the day. It makes me anxious when I'm not drinking. I don't know how to do it, and so on and so forth. We approach it with an attitude of fear and misgiving and actually loathing. Do I really have to do this? And yet, of course, there's the other side of us that knows damn well we got to get this under control. We have to do this. We have to find a way to live without alcohol. And that description, I just described an incredibly difficult way to live, right? We're living in complete and total constant cognitive dissonance, wanting one thing, doing another. That is basically hell on earth. Regretting our actions every single day. I don't call that happiness. So, the reason we're looking at this book is that I want to convince you this week and every week to approach your alcohol free journey with curiosity, dare I even say enthusiasm, with desire, with excitement. I want to turn this into a journey that you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this. Let's get started. And I know for a lot of you, that sounds like impossible. What the hell is she talking about? Certainly for me, it would have been. I knew I had to give up alcohol for years, but I was terrified of it. And I certainly did not think of it with any kind of desire or enthusiasm. I just thought, oh man, how do you do it? Please just let it be over with, because it's just like going in and having every tooth pulled and then trying to figure out how to live without teeth. I mean, it's just, how do you do this? Well, this book should help us get a handle on why, if we just change our attitude towards this journey, the whole journey itself becomes easier. That's powerful. Let me say that one again. This week, I want to convince you that if you can change your attitude towards this journey, the whole journey will become easier. Let me give you the rest of that quote. I gave you part of it at the beginning. Here's what Ms. Gawain says: the process of change does not occur on superficial levels through mere positive thinking. It involves exploring, discovering, and changing our deepest, most basic attitudes towards life. That's why I rarely ask you to do affirmations. Affirmations work done correctly. There's a scientific reason why you'll hear about affirmations all over the place. Theoretically, they should work, but they seldom actually do. People, we try them like little parrots. We parrot an affirmation and then think, this is stupid. What the hell's going on? Nothing's happening. What am I doing? And that's why she says we can't just use positive thinking or affirmations. We have to change our deepest, most basic attitude towards life. And my dear, that is the gift that I want to give you, the gift of a better attitude towards an alcohol free life. Now, the thing is, that isn't going to come just from me telling you, trust me, you'll feel okay. I mean, you will. You'll feel better than okay. As I'm always saying here, I'm here to help you build the best chapter of your life. And I also always point out that I feel better at 60 than I did at 30. Because at 30, I was drinking a lot, right? And 40, not to mention 50. But I can tell you that till the proverbial cows come home. And it really isn't going to make a difference. I was told that and it made no difference. Being told something never helps. We have to experience it and we have to start from belief and desire to believe it. And so when I pulled this book off my bookshelf and thought of you, at first I thought, well, what does this have to do with it? And then I thought more carefully about it and I realized, no, if I could help the gals think about this in a different way, I think I can help them even more than we already are here in Snippet Land. So when I say to you, we're looking at this book, that's why. We're looking at it so we can approach this differently. And the beautiful thing about it is there are practical ways we can do that. Practical ways we can discover whether or not the process will work for us and whether or not we can actually start looking at our lives differently. Okay, so we know that we're energy, our emotions are energy, and emotions and energy are magnetic, and that we get what we put out into the universe. So you do the math on that. That automatically means that if you're putting out into the universe or just the world around you, if you're putting out fear and hesitation around living alcohol free, that's exactly what you're going to get back. I mean, that's the bottom line here. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And so, to help you, believe me when I tell you that it is only scary in the beginning, it is the proverbial monster under the bed. It does get easier fairly quickly if you're properly supported. We're going to look at what Shakti Gawain says in her next chapter, which is called It's Important to Relax. And then the one that follows it, where she describes how to do creative visualization. And then, seriously, literally, the rest of this book is all practical techniques, and we'll talk about that more on Friday. Simply put, we can use creative visualization to visualize an alcohol free life that is easy and joyous and makes us happy and not scary and not fearful. And I think that's pretty exciting. And creative visualization is exactly what it sounds like. It's imagining the life you want, writing it in your journal, thinking about it, thinking about the journey in a positive way. It really is not more complicated than that. And that's why this book is practical and not theoretical. There ain't much theory to that, right? The first couple of very short chapters, and she's done. So by about page 20 in a book of 120 pages, she's already done with theory. And before she gives us her first strategy, she spends a little bit of time explaining the importance of relaxation. Here's what she says. It's important to relax deeply when you are first learning to use creative visualization. When your body and mind are deeply relaxed, your brainwave pattern actually changes and becomes slower. This deeper, slower level is commonly called alpha level, and much research is currently being done on its effects. The alpha level has been found to be a very healthful state of consciousness because of its relaxing effect on mind and body. And interestingly enough, it has been found to be far more effective than the more active beta level in creating real changes in the so called objective world through the use of visualization. Isn't that interesting? What she means by that is when the mind is on and you are wide awake and you're at work and you're doing what it is you do, you're productive, right? That's one state. Another state is to be very relaxed and allow the mind to go into alpha waves. And she's saying that the latter, the alpha waves, are actually more productive. Why? Because you can use them to convince yourself, your subconscious, to help you out. And it's more powerful than anything your conscious mind can do. So we want to learn to relax. It's not rocket science. It may not be easy, especially without a drink, but we understand that, right? Here's more on what she says about this. What this means for our practical purposes is that if you learn to relax deeply and do creative visualization, you will be able to make far more effective changes in your life than you will by thinking, worrying, planning, and trying to manipulate things and people. Right? Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Gals, how much do we talk here in Snippet Land about worrying, about fear, about planning, about trying to figure it all out? We don't bother, especially worrying. If you learn to relax, it's way more effective than thinking, worrying, planning, and trying to manipulate things and people, including ourselves. She gives a basic grounding technique, but she basically says any way that you can feel fully relaxed is fine in order to prepare for a creative visualization session. And creative visualization is simply closing the eyes and seeing in your mind's eye what you would like to experience. And so in our case, I just want you to be able to relax and imagine yourself alcohol free, happy, and healthy, and not afraid, and not stressed, and not worried, and not just when you're in a state of relaxation. But I'm hoping that this will spill over into your everyday life and you'll start feeling safer and more willing to come on this journey. That really is what this is all about. Can you decide, you know what, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe I'm just making it harder than it has to seem. Maybe all I need to do is just follow through on some of the stuff that I've learned instead of gathering more information and be supported and move forward and see what happens. Maybe I can learn how to come home from work and relax without a drink. Just maybe. That's enough. I'm happy with that. Even if you're willing to open the door a crack and allow some of the fear to dissipate. The nice thing about relaxing and visualizing in this way, it's hard to have fear involved when you're breathing deeply, relaxing the body, and imagining something you want. And my dears, just because we're supposedly grown up does not mean that we cannot imagine like children. Imagine what we want, fantasize about it. Fantasizing is incredibly powerful. And I've done snippets here on the show on being childlike, not childish. That most of us already are. If you're over drinking, you're probably childish because we don't have emotional growth to do. But we definitely want to be more childlike, meaning more open, more trusting, and able to imagine the life that we want. Gals, that's as far as we're going to go in the book today. On Friday, we're going to focus solely and 100%, I promise, on strategies and techniques. She covers all of it. She covers journaling, she covers affirmation, and a whole lot more. Before we go, gals, I want to make sure you're aware of a brand new community that's launching on the 15th. That's this Friday, 2 days from now. We are launching what's known as Fresh Start Foundations. This is a community for women just like you, ready to start their alcohol-free life with support and guidance from me. We're going to be meeting every Friday on Zoom at 6 p.m. Eastern. There's more information on that in the show notes, and I would love to see you there. This is a no stress, no obligation community. And what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. I mean that by joining this community, you are not signing a contract that says, I will never drink again. This is not about counting days. This is not about showing up and having everybody count their days. Because why? Because this journey is messy. This is about learning how to show up regardless of what happens, learning how to grow into a woman who lives her life alcohol-free. That's a huge difference from anything I was exposed to in early sobriety. And I built it just for you. Check out the show notes because I'd love to see you there. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back next time so I can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.
When it comes to weight loss, you don't need more advice. You need more of what works. That's Weight Watchers, designed for one thing: better weight loss results. With real coaches who show up week after week and host workshops and Q&As on a schedule that works for you. And real tools designed to take the guesswork out of what to eat, how to move, and how to build habits that actually last. Because real results don't just come from more advice. They come from the support to follow through. That's why Weight Watchers Core Plus members lose 3.5 times more weight than people who do it on their own. Get more of what works with Weight Watchers Core Plus. More tools, more support, more personalization, more of what actually works. Get started today at WeightWatchers.com. In a 6-month clinical trial of over 370 people, those using Weight Watchers saw significantly better results than those following standard nutritional advice alone. See the 2025 study published in the AJCN.